Hey, what's going on, guys? So in this episode, we're going to be talking about cards that are great to side deck in this format. So let's jump right into it because there's a bunch of cards I want to talk about. So first card we're going to be talking about is Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Now, there's a lot of things that are in the graveyard that need to be in the graveyard for an opponent to essentially play. So removing play Graphos, removing play Dragons, Lightsworn Names, Insector Hornet, very good stuff. So Kaiku, and it's a relatively easy card to get. So Kaiku is a great side deck card. Next up, I want to talk about this card, Victoria, which I haven't seen too many people play, but I've seen a few people try it out against Dragons, and it's an interesting card. So if you don't know what this card does, it actually comes out in the structure deck with the fairies, I believe, and what you can do is once per turn, you can special summon a dragon monster from your opponent's graveyard. And, yeah, so it does target it, so if they DD Crow it, then that's kind of unfortunate. But, yeah, so, and they can't select another face-up fairy type monster as an attack target. It is a fairy, so perhaps if you're trying to run maybe fairies, this would be a great addition because it's also a fairy. Plus it has 1800 attack and 1500 defense, so relatively decent in those aspects. But yeah, what I like this for basically was against the whole Lightsworn Dragon thing. If you get back the Red as Darkness Metal and then you can just run over their Light Pulsar and there's no more other targets, it's very good in that aspect. Next card up goes Unmatched. Now this is a great card against a variety of decks, and it can hurt 6 Samurais as well, even though most of these, they're all Samurai looking cards on there. Samurais usually will side into Rivalry of Warlords, but yeah, they'll side into that because only warriors can be on the field and they all have warriors, but it kind of hurts them because they can only go for the same attribute. And so, yeah, that can hurt them quite a bit because then they can't really make the stuff they want to make. But mostly it's used against wind-ups, and it can be sided against Dino Rabbit, which I've seen. Next card up, Tragodia. Now this card's really good against a lot of decks that have trouble getting over big monsters. So I'd say 6 Samurais have a hard time getting over a big monster, and as well as Dino Rabbit. Yeah, so this card's great against those, and Tragodia did get reprinted in the Dark World structure deck, so you should have access to that quite easily. Next card up, Spirit Reaper, really good, attack, get those minuses in for your opponent. And on top of that, there's a lot of decks, I'd say Dino Rabbit and 6 Sams have a hard time getting over this card, as well as some Dragon decks. Yeah, they just have a hard time because, it can't be destroyed by battle, and Dragons usually just swarm with huge beaters, but they do run Raikou, so that is a card that kind of hurt that. Next card up, Snowman Eater. Now, Snowman Eater is a great card against Dino Rabbit. I'm sure you guys are mostly familiar with that. But this card is actually a really good side deck against heroes as well. And because what it allows you to do is, have a 1900 defender. And their first turn is almost always Stratos or Alias, and then they'll just attack you. And then this flips up, and neither one of those gets over that. And, you still have a level 3 on the field, which allows you to exceed, because, I'd say level 3 exceeds or rank 3, I should say, are kind of the most popular ones in the game at the moment. Next up, Effect Veiler. There should be no explanation for that, but, since priority is gone, most of you guys have mained that card instead of siding it now. Next card up, Starlight Road. Now this is a great card if you're having trouble against Lightsworn. I would say this card definitely is the best side deck against Lightsworn. Personally, they do use Decree a lot, but personally, with my experience, I side deck Starlight Road because at my locals there's a few people that play Lightsworn, and as soon as you get that Starlight Road, you get that Stardust out, you've secured so much advantage. But it can be dead sometimes because sometimes they'll just slowly play their Judgment Dragons, they'll set a Raikou, and it's unfortunate. Or they'll go Lila, and then they'll pop one, and then they'll go JD. It's kind of unfortunate, but, it is a card that is decent. Next card up, Skill Drain. Heroes mostly are the deck that you can side deck Skill Drain, I would say, and be most successful. A lot of decks do main deck it anyways. But Skill Drain can shut down some decks completely. I would say windups hurt quite a bit if Skill Drain's on the field. Next card up, Forbidden Chalice. Now, this card saw a lot more play in Dino Rabbits than I would say any other deck, but if you're playing anything that is Skill Drain, and you need Skill Drain, and, you only can run 3 copies, obviously, so this might just help you, get that Beast King up to 3000 attack a little bit faster. And as well as, if you're playing Dino Rabbits, this is a really great side deck card because when Snowman Eater flips, this does change the damage or the attack of the monster, so it can be activated in damage stuff, and that's why that they've been siding that card. Next up, Dimensional Fissure. Now this is definitely great against Dark Worlds, although it does not hurt Insectors. Insectors will get hurt by Macrocosmos a lot more, but the thing with Defissure, if he plays against Dark Worlds, there's really limited plays that they can really do. And Dark Worlds usually side into MSTs anyways, if they don't already main 3. I've seen a lot of Dark Worlds actually main 3 now. But yeah, Deep Fissure, really good against, I'd say Dark World's the most. Yeah. Next up, Puppet Plant. Now, this was a great card against 6 Samurais when 6 Samurais were super popular. And what it does, it allows you to basically take Shien. Well, I'll read it for you. So you can send it from the hand to the graveyard. So it does not work when Deep Fissure's on the field. And you can select a warrior or spellcaster your opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase of this turn. So, really good card. Allows you to like take their monster and do whatever you want with it. It's basically brain control. But, you know, obviously Deep Fissure can't be on the field. And it's another monster that goes in the grave. But it's level 3, so maybe if on the off chance that you need to exceed, you can use it for that. But it's really great against heroes because all the heroes are basically warriors. And so you can OTK the heroes, you know, a lot faster because if you can like swarm and they already have a bigger monster, so they'll be like, what are you doing? And then you just use this because there's really limited things that stop this. Debunk can stop this, but that's really about it. Yeah, so if you get a whole bunch of monsters out and your opponent has absolute 0 on the field, they usually will be like, okay, I'll let everything be summoned, no problem. And then you activate this and then they're like, oh, I'm going to get OTK'd now. So that is, I'd say, like one of the ways you can play with that. Cyber Dragon, pretty standard. Cyber Dragon just to get over like anti-meta, as well as any machine decks. It does help. Wind-ups, it's great against that as well. Are mostly anti-meta and like Gladiator Beasts. Even though those kind of are like lower tier decks, this definitely does still help, and it's another light target. Next up, GD Crow, probably one of the best side deck cards I would say this format, because it hurts Inzectors, it hurts Windups, it can hurt heroes, and it can hurt dragons as well. And it's from the hand. Hand traps are a little bit harder to negate in Yu-Gi-Oh! Just because you can't like see that your opponent has them, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I guess if they duality and they add DD Crow, you would know that they had DD Crow, but there's no way to read your opponent, oh, he's got DD Crow at the moment. It's a little bit more difficult in that aspect. But yeah, so DD Crow, very good. Plus it's a dark. And if you are playing Black Wings, it is a winged beast, so you can use it with Icarus attack. Next card up, Chain Disappearance. Now, this will be a great card once the tour guide gets reprinted, because I guarantee you, so many people are going to be playing tour guides. So this will definitely be a great card. Some people might even main deck this. I've seen a few people main deck this card on Dueling Network against me, because I play tour guide in like a lot of my decks. Pretty much every deck. And basically, if you summon tour guide, just get rid of all the tour guides. You can get rid of the Sangan if you wish, but I definitely say that this card is great. It also gets rid of a lot of things. If you're playing against Inzectors and you go, you summon Dragonfly, let me get rid of all those Dragonflies. And if you're playing against Frog Monarchs, which doesn't see too much play, but if it does happen to be at your locals, perhaps Chain Disappearance is a great card because it gets rid of all of them. Next card up, Thunder King, should be self-explanatory. Anything that exceeds or synchros heavy, Dino Rabbit or like 6 Samurais, Windups as well. You summon this Thunder King, and it's kind of hard for them to get over. Next card up, I want to talk about Raikou. Now, Raikou did see a little bit of side deck play in a lot of different decks a while ago, just because, Herald Perfection was there, and this was a great card in Herald Perfection to get rid of Royal Decree, because Decree was a problem for them, because, sometimes they want to activate certain things. Sometimes if you get Herald Decree, it's really good. But there's Gladiator Beast that just went like War Chariot, that thing, and since it's supposed to be 3, it couldn't negate it. But anyways, Raikou really good just because it's light. It gets rid of problematic cards. Like for example, Christia, I would consider a problematic card, or perhaps a Royal Decree on the field, and your opponent has it, and you've got a whole bunch of back row. Raikou can get rid of that. So Raikou is a great answer to a lot of things, as well as maybe Dino Rabbit, just because it is also a light target, and it does help mill. So I mean, if you potentially milled a Hornet in that aspect, it would work quite well. Next card up, this is kind of my personal, it really helped me when I topped with Inzectors, and this is Black Horn of Heaven. I love this card so much. It was a Solemn Warning that you didn't have to pay for, and one of my opponent went to make because whenever you have any back row, I'd say like 90% of the time, they will always go for Logia against, if they're playing Dino Rabbit. If there's any back row, they will always go for Logia, 99% of the time, because if you're playing Inzectors and they know you're playing Inzectors, they will go for Dolka. If you have no back row, then you'll basically lose. But the thing is, I had 2 cards, and I didn't want to get MSC, so I ended up setting this plus Dark Hole, which was like, you're thinking like, why would you set Dark Hole? Dark Hole's amazing. But I didn't want to risk the chance of an MST. I wanted to be able to activate it, and it worked out for me. So there are times when you kind of want to set Dark Hole or something good, because you can't risk the MST, and this card is just so good against a lot of decks. I'd say like Windups, it hurts them. as well as like Dino Rabbit. Anything that exceeds or synchros a lot. I'd say like maybe plants. Against plants would be okay, but plants are kind of dead. Anyways, next card up, Electric Virus. Now what this does, it's kind of like Puppet Plant, but it is a light, so that is awesome. And it's also level 3. And what it does, it's a Thunder. I'm not sure if that will change anything, but anyways, you can discard it just like a hand trap, and you can take a face-up machine or dragon type monster your opponent controls until the end phase. So if you're playing like the Lightsworn Dragon Mirror match, this card would be definitely good. Not only is it light, so you can set up for your light pulsar, but taking someone's Red as Darkest Metal, pretty good stuff. Or if you're playing against machines, you know, it'd be great against that. Although I honestly prefer Cyber Dragon against machine. I think that card's really awesome against them. And then Royal Decree, if you're playing Inzectors, you should expect people to side deck Macrocosmos. And there's a lot of other decks that if, you know, Chain Burn, this card is just so good against them. You flip this up, they don't have MST, you can finish them off quite easily. And I want to talk about this card, Battle Fader. It's not seeing too much play in the side deck now, but I think this card might see some play. I mean, you know, it is a common from the Dark World Structure deck, I believe, also. And this will allow you to survive versus Heretic Dragons, or like Hieroglyphs. They're called Heretic now. But anyways, so Battle Fader, because it's great against, you know, any deck that can OTK you really fast before you even have a chance. You can drop the Battle Fader, maybe Tribute for Caius, or just have it on board for one more turn just to block one attack. It definitely just feels like it's a definitely good card maybe against like Lightsworn, where they can just like open and they can just do really good against you, and you still have like another chance because, you know, I mean, you could say Waboku's good as well, but this card is just awesome because they can't really like see it coming, so they can overextend. Because if they go MST and you go Chain Waboku, they probably won't summon all their Judgment Dragons, all that. Next card up, Gemini Imps. Now, I really like this card against Dark Worlds. It's probably one of my favorite side deck cards, along with Dimensional Fissure, because at the moment I'm playing Inzectors, so Dimensional Fissure does not hurt me. So Gemini Imps, what it does is, when a card effect controlled by your opponent is activated, which would cause you to discard, by sending this card from your hand to the graveyard, you get to negate the activation, and you get to draw a card. And that's key right there, because not only is it a dark, you know, because I do play Dark Arm, but it allows you to put a dark in the graveyard. The attack and defense is relatively weak on it. It's 1,000 to 1,000. But what it allows you to do is keep the hand advantage, because your opponent used one card, they don't get to activate it, it's negated, you get to still draw a card, and you get to put a dark in your graveyard. So it definitely helps, and I really do like that card personally. It's helped me win a lot of games, because I really don't like to get like Dark World Dueling, and then, yeah. Anyways, next card up, Gail. Now, this was like a really great card against like anti-meta, and a lot of different like just strange decks. Like, it was just good. A lot of people were playing this card a while ago, and it kind of just like, well, lost its spotlight, I would say. But I still feel like if you happen to not have some of these cards that I showed off earlier, Gail's a really easy card to get, and it's great against 6 Samurais, actually, because what you do is you have the attack of Xian, and you'll attack Xian, and Xian will be at 1250, and Gail is at 1300 attack, so it can attack over Xian. And most likely your opponent will be like, oh, let me save Xian, I'll destroy my other 6 Samurai, which most likely had more attack than 1250 anyways, and 1250 for attack for Xian is not very hard to run over with a lot of different monsters. Another card, Neospatian Grandmal, you know, again, gets rid of Xian, can get rid of Lagia, although Lagia will probably negate the summon of this, so it is a card where you can force your opponent to activate Lagia's effect. As well as, you know, any deck that sets a lot, maybe perhaps Gravekeepers, you know, there's a lot of different options where you can use Grandmal. Like, first turn when someone goes for Zen Mains, this is a great card as well. And next up, I want to talk about Marshmon. And Marshmon is just kind of a funny card. I like the artwork of this card. It's actually a big upside-down happy face. But what I like about Marshmon is that extra 1,000 damage actually helps out a lot. Surprisingly, you know, you can actually win games with that 1,000 burn damage. Plus, it also is a light. And the most important was the rank 3. Now, that allowed me to get Levier, because I did get Chain Disappearance before. Like, my Dragonfly got Chain Disappearance, so I had to remove all of them. So I set a Marshmallow, he attacked into it, and then I got, you know, Marshmallow doesn't die. And so you can summon Centipede, you can overlay, and then you can make a Levier, and you can get back a Dragonfly, and then you can do your whole combo. So level 3 allows you to go for rank 3s, and it does help out the extra 1,000 damage. Plus, not being destroyed by battle is the key in Marshmallow. But yeah, those are some of the side deck cards that I think are great this format. If there's any that you guys think are great, let me know in the comment section below, and then perhaps I'll update this and you guys can check out some other great cards to use in your side deck. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.